So I wanted to wait till the end of the whole Splyce drama before they get a new fourth to talk about what went down with Josh and how he was released. But now I just saw Dexerto and I just saw this headline: Splyce start roster mania with new God Squad. Wait, didn't they just release Josh? And now they're letting him back in with his team he's built now? What? Go deeper into it. They've added Vance, Jurd, and now MadCat has joined the team, so it's official. This is the new Splyce. Vance, Jurd, Josh, MadCat. People who are gone, Joee and Rated. Now, it looked all good for this team to not even... It looked all good for the former team of Splyce that was the three of Joe, Rated, and Vance, and to get a fourth, which was looking to be MadCat anyway, with Josh leaving. And Splyce Web talked about their issues on their site about why they let go Josh, one of the better hybrids in the game, what's supposed to be the better leaders, and all throughout European COD. And they talked about that in great extent, actually, at least Joe. So let's go back a bit. Let's go back to when Josh was first kicked from Splyce. Let's talk about what Joe said on the website. And here's some of the things that Joe said. You can go to the Splyce website or go to Dexerto. He said, as far back as the time before the start of Stage 2 this year, we had considered not teaming with Josh because all the arguing and frustrations that Ben had already had with him in Stage 1. Ben decided he didn't want to leave Josh, so we decided to give it a shot for Stage 2. Then it got worse, Joe said, saying, all of this of course affected our performance. We go to MLG Anaheim, choke versus FaZe. We head to Stage 2 playoffs, and choke 5-2 map lead against Infused, as all of the problems came to affect us and our communication in-game fell apart. No one wanted to listen to each other. This is an important fact. Now, as great as Josh was as a player, and maybe even an in-game leader, when you lose, it's like a coach. It's like a coach in sports. You lose the locker room, you're done. You're usually done. You lose the locker room, how the players are going to listen to you and your leadership. Which leads to an interesting fact of these four, most likely individually, gotten themselves to a position to where they were second. They were in a grand final against Envious in COD champs. And that's the weird thing for me. Whatever proof you have, you may have the chokes that you guys had in MLG Anaheim and Stage 2 playoffs. You guys seem to really work through that and made it a second place appearance. So I was confused by him saying that stuff. I was confused by him saying that the communication was deteriorating, because apparently communication was good enough to get a second place finish. So what happens here? I had good communication. Could have guys had one of the bigger upsets in COD history and beat Envious? I don't know. Finally, he says, we are looking forward to Infinite Warfare and continuing to bring big wins with Splyce. We don't have our fourth yet, but we'll have details about that soon. Thanks for all of our fans continuing to support us this year. Okay, so at first it was supposed to be MadCat. Sorry for moving this around. But at first it was supposed to be MadCat that was supposed to be involved. Supposed to be the head guy. The lead dog to get the fourth spot. To be the new fourth for the team. But then, as I was checking to finally see if this Splyce drama ended, not exactly. I don't know if it just begun, but this is not, I think it ended, just not how I expected it to end. This dropped today, what I told you earlier. So here's how it all went down. First, the news was broken on Twitter. All of this is, most of this from Twitters that the players put out there. This is first from Josh's Twitter himself, the guy who's got kicked, saying, super excited to announce that I'm teaming alongside Vance and Jurd under Splyce Pro. More news on the force soon. Here's the thing. This is what gets me about orcs sometimes. This is from Jurd, being reviewed of his duties, apparently unbeknownst to him, is Rated Christ, who posted his surprise after being dropped on the Twitter. Finding out you've been dropped by a Twitter post, unreal, LMAO. This is one of the big things that annoyed me about the organization. Your Call of Duty manager should make the phone calls to your players that you're dropping before you make that public on Twitter. You should just tell him that it's going down and have a good day. Now, to just find that out, the new players on Twitter, and to not know that you've been dropped, that's a sneaky move, I think. I think that's a move that says, okay, I did not like you enough to do this to you. Have a good day. This is the LG situation that got me a little bit angry at LG with Luminosity for a while. Because they did the exact same thing to Tyler T.P. Polchild, the legend, one of the legends behind the Complexity EG Dynasty that was in Call of Duty around 2014. To be noted, he wasn't playing well, he even admitted it himself, but to let him know that he was dropped on Twitter, rather than calling him and going face to face first before going public, rather than him knowing as soon as the public knew? Come on, man, that's ridiculous. There should be a certain ounce of respect that players should get, especially players that's been around for a while. Especially players who have been established in the community, because that risks burning bridges against very well-connected people. Even as you as an organization, that still pulls out that risk saying, oh, we like you coming in, but we won't care much about you when you leave. And that's disrespectful, I think. Very disrespectful. And with that being said, I understand Rated's anger as he continues to talk shit about someone for 2 months ruining champs practice to crawl back into his ass. Funny, really. Now, that was just from Rated's Twitter. Apparently he deleted that, but then everyone is still on Twitter. Splyce was the best organization I've been a part of, but announcing someone's been dropped on Twitter is a tad weird. According to Josh's tweet, the fourth new lineup consisting bans, Jurd himself is still in the works, and rumors are flying around on what next route under the Splyce water. And then the later update. Now, the Splyce Pro roster for the IW season. Myself, Bance, Jurd, MadCat. I've never been excited to get playing with a team. I would like to know more about the situation and what went down. Did Josh go to the COD manager of Splyce and told him what went down of 2 different stories? Because I feel like there is 2 different stories of the whole thing between stage 1 and then what happened at COD XP. I feel like there is 2 different stories, and I like to hear those 2 different stories to see what really truly happened. But in my opinion is this: I never seen them show any real issues of communicating on television, on LAN, on those things. But I admit this, I haven't gone to a LAN yet, and I would love to one day. But it just doesn't feel like what Joe was saying had any real solid proof onto it. Now, Splyce, I don't know if Splyce did exactly very well stage 1, but I know stage 2, like you said, Energy Anaheim, they had a good run nonetheless, even though they ended up getting reverse swept twice, but they still made it. They still ended up in the money. And then their run for COD champs were downright amazing. They've done a great job. And all year, even at ESWC, they made a run into the final, beating teams like Rise, beating teams like FaZe, and then even though they got 3-0 by Optic, it was still a great achievement getting that far in the ESWCs, and I'm thinking in my head, so why so much of the, why so much this now? Why pull this off now rather than before COD Champs? Well, never mind. Couldn't really make that change before COD Champs. I'm guessing if that change was allowed before COD Champs, they would have made it. But then you guys ended up owning up to it and ended up having a finish that was solid. And now I understand now leaving, you want to get into a new game, you want a new fresh start, but a guy as solid as Joshh has been all this time, and knowing that he can still get good, still be solid in the next game, with most of the mechanics from Black Ops 3 going into IW, don't you think you want a guy with a good hybrid skill and a skill of in-game leader like Joshh? You don't have to like him, but if you could push all your personal feelings about it, be a professional team, scrim like you're supposed to, get things done like you're supposed to, maybe if that happens, maybe you should just left it alone. But now, you're gone, Joe, and Rated, and you got replaced by the guy you guys tried to out. So, there's a bit more questions than answers in this, but I say that this Splyce roster is now very solid. Joshh, the hybrid leader, he's the captain. He's the guy who's going to really get things going for Splyce. I believe he did throughout the Call of Duty World League Championships. Jurd, a legend, an Ireland legend in gaming, in COD, in European COD, he's a legend. MadCat, another known European COD player, very solid Slayer. Bands, he did great work during COD XP, the best Slayer COD had throughout COD XP. So it just leads to this. This Splyce team, I think it's gotten a little better. I think it's gotten a little bit better. And it's going to really be interesting what they do through Infinite Warfare in the next Call of Duty World League and what happens through there. So I'm interested to see what really goes down. So, that is my thoughts on the whole situation. Leave a like if you like it. Leave a comment on how to expand the channel. I love to expand it a bit more. This is your guy, the Big Man, and all I gotta say now, peace.